Okay, here we are. 2005 Yukon Denali. This car has been a decent car, but he's had some stuff that I've had to work in. Alright, so for the most part, this car has been pretty reliable. A couple of things I've had to do. The very back of the engine block, and it's extremely hard to see, but back there's an engine bolt that I had to replace. Actually, wasn't able to get to it. Didn't get to replace it. I actually just put a bracket that I found on Amazon for 15 bucks to be able to push the exhaust header onto the head. Yeah, so they make a bracket for bad engineering, which is, I guess, great. Anyways, after I replaced all of the gaskets on each of the exhausts, and I took care of that, resealed them with everything, I haven't had any issues. The issue that I used to have was basically I would hear a ticking of the engine, and then when it would warm up, it would go away. And so as the engine would warm up, the metal would expand and it would seal the issue. Oh, there it is. Now I can see it. Way back in there. Give us light. There we go. That's my bracket with the bolt that pushes the header onto the engine. Really great. It's about as redneck as you can get, but you know what? It worked, and it was extremely cheap compared to having to drill out the block and deal with all that, especially in a very hard to reach location. So, cheap fix, but annoying. I have since replaced all of my exhaust bolts with better bolts. Okay, next issue that I've had. Yeah, don't mind the wood. I'm still figuring out a battery hold down. This is so redneck, but I promise you this is not normal. Anyways, to be continued. So, here is the next issue. My ground connection all the way down. So what has happened? What were the symptoms? I would try to start my car and the lights would turn on. I could unlock it with the remote. It had power all day. As soon as I would try to turn it over and the engine would pull some pretty serious power from the battery, there would be some type of a short somewhere, and I'm not sure where. Some sort of a short in the ground cable all the way that would essentially turn the entire system off. I think it was a short that would then basically, I don't know, it would create a situation where there was no power. I could turn my voltmeter on inside and it would show no power, nothing would turn on, the car was completely dead. It was almost as if you took the battery cable off of the battery. There was no readings, it was dead. It's very strange. Have not found any videos that have said anything about what they've done in that situation. I've heard a lot of people talking about how they needed to ground a cable in the back through here because they had a bunch of ABS issues. I've heard people talking about that this ground through here needed to be reconnected, and so I went and inspected that and tried to figure that out, and then I came back over here and I realized, okay, this is my problem. So this is my ground. I bought a new ground cable at whatever parts store, and I tried to reconnect it down into the where it's connected. That location is at the back of the engine block at the very, very rear section. So I was not about to get in there. I mean, I'd basically be pulling the engine in order to get back there. It was an extremely obscure location. So way back, way back in there, and then in like the middle of the engine. So yeah, everyone likes a nice, easy to access point. So what did I do? I went for the easier option, which was to run a new battery cable. So that's what I did. So that's my new battery cable. Ran it all, connected up this existing electrical thing. I wish I could tell you what this thing does, but it looks pretty fancy and I'm not gonna mess with it. Although I'm an engineer, I'm not an electrical engineer, so I don't pretend to think that I know anything electrical. But I know how to connect a decent ground. So I ran my new wire, and what I did was I actually spliced these two. So I took the old ground wire, which is in the loom right there. Let's see if I can point to it here. So the new, wow, technical difficulties, my apologies. All right, so the old wire is in the loom there that's connected in all of this electrical tape. The new wire is obviously right there next to it. So what I did was I spliced the two, and I made sure that we had a really good connection, and I soldered it with my blowtorch. So made sure that was a solid connection, wrapped it like crazy, etc., etc. It is good now, and I haven't had any of the issues that I've had in the past. Where did I connect it? Connected it down to the chassis. There's a bolt underneath there. I'm going to show you right now, but anyways, you look under your engine, you can find something that's connected to the chassis. That's important. Make sure it's connected to the chassis. The engine is connected to the chassis, which is where the other one was. The reason I spliced the two was it's basically backup. So in any case where, for whatever reason, one of the grounds is not connected well, the other one will serve its purpose. So what I did find was before I spliced these and connected them together, when I would turn over the engine, it was kind of a tougher turnover. It almost felt like it was a dead battery. Once I spliced the two together, it's now a solid connection. I have no ground issues, and I am very happy with this connection. So anyways, I struggled with trying to figure out the solution to this problem. The solution was connecting a new ground from this all the way down into the chassis. Hopefully this helps somebody else out there who's struggling trying to figure out what the heck is wrong with their car. I know YouTube has always been a blessing for me, so here I am trying to pay it forward just a little bit. Again, 2005 Yukon XL Denali. This is the 6.0 Vortec. I've taken off all the pretty plastic because sadly I've worked on this thing more than I'd like to think, that I make sure that I just don't have all the plastic to deal with. But has it been a solid vehicle? It has. Do I wish I could have solved some of this stuff sooner? Yes, because the issue that I found was when I was stranded and the vehicle would not turn over, it would basically, the power would completely turn off after I would turn the ignition. I had to get into the engine bay and basically wrangle the negative cord, the negative battery cable, and just beat it and smack it around until it finally had some form of a connection. Once it made that connection, then the vehicle would finally turn on. So that is really annoying when you are not dressed to be a mechanic in the morning. Regardless, hopefully this helps somebody else. Yeah, good times. Anyways, signing off. There it is. Yukon 2005 XL Denali. There it is.